Okay, before we jump in, just a quick heads up. This explainer is for educational purposes. It's a review, a walkthrough, but it is absolutely not a substitute for hands-on certified medical training. Please always consult the official NRP guidelines and work with qualified instructors.
All right, welcome to Novice Notes. Today, we are going to walk through the absolute key critical interventions in neonatal resuscitation. Whether this is a refresher for you or you're just getting your head around the fundamentals, these are the make or break steps in those first few moments of a newborn's life.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with what's called the golden minute, that first critical 60 seconds. Then we'll get into the real cornerstone of NRP, positive pressure ventilation, or PPV. From there, we'll talk about what to do when things aren't working, using the SOPA steps. Then we'll level up to chest compressions and medications. And we'll wrap it all up with the key targets you need to be watching. All right, first up, the golden minute. And trust me, everything, and I mean everything in neonatal resuscitation kicks off right here. This is where one of the most incredible transformations in all of nature happens. Think about it. For 9 months, a baby's lungs are filled with fluid. They're getting all their oxygen from the placenta. Then, in an instant, that all has to change. The lungs have to clear out, fill with air for the very first time, and the entire circulatory system basically has to reroute itself on the fly. It's a monumental task. And when that process stumbles, that's where we come in. And to help with that transition, the standard of care has really shifted. For most newborns now, the recommendation is to wait at least this long, 60 seconds, before clamping the umbilical cord. This is what we call deferred or delayed cord clamping. So you might be asking, why the wait? Is it really that big of a deal? Oh yeah, the evidence is just overwhelming. For preemies, it's actually linked to increased survival. And for our full-term maybes, it boosts their iron stores, which could have some really positive long-term effects on brain development. It's such a simple thing to do, but the impact is huge.
Now, if you take away only one single thing from our chat today, let it be this. The number one reason a newborn gets into trouble is a failure to breathe. It's respiratory. So getting air into those lungs, effective ventilation, it isn't just a step, it is the step.
And that leads us straight into the absolute cornerstone of NRP, providing positive pressure ventilation. This is our go-to, our most critical intervention when a baby just can't get that effective breathing going on their own. Now, let's geek out for a second on the physics here, because it's all about precision. We're not just squeezing a bag, we're aiming for a specific rate, 30 to 60 breaths a minute. We start with an inflation pressure, or PEEP, of about 25, just to gently open up those lungs. And we use a little bit of pressure at the end, called PEEP, to keep them from collapsing again. Every one of these numbers matters. And getting that rate right is all about the rhythm, the cadence. You can literally hear it in your head. It's this steady count. Breathe, 2, 3. Breathe, 2, 3. You give the breath on breathe, and you let them exhale on the 2, 3. Simple, effective, and life-saving. So how do we know if all this is actually working? It's simple. We look at the heart rate. The heart rate is our number one indicator. We give good PPV for 30 seconds, and then we check. If that heart rate is climbing above 100, fantastic, we're winning. But if it's below 100, we have to ask a really important question. Because if that heart rate isn't budging and you're looking down and seeing a still chest, that's a red flag, a huge one. It means the air we're pushing isn't actually getting into the lungs. This is a critical failure, and it means we have to stop and immediately start troubleshooting. Luckily, we don't have to gas. We have a tool, a mnemonic that's basically our troubleshooting superhero, SOPA. Think of SOPA as your emergency checklist. It takes the panic out of the situation and gives you an organized, step-by-step way to figure out what's wrong. It starts with the most common, simple fixes, like the mask, and works its way down to more advanced airway problems. So let's run through it real quick. The first two, M and R, go together. Adjust the mask and reposition the airway. Still no chest rise? Okay, let's try suctioning the mouth and nose. Then, open the mouth. Still nothing? Now we can try increasing the pressure. And if all of that fails, it's time to consider an alternative airway, like an ET tube. Okay, so we've tried to fix ventilation, we've gone through our MRSOP steps, but the baby's heart rate is still dangerously low. What now? We have to escalate. We have to start supporting their circulation directly. Now, this is super important. We don't just jump to compressions. There's a very specific trigger. The heart rate is still below 60 beats per minute, after we have already established effective ventilation, meaning we can see the chest rising and falling. You have got to fix breathing first. And when we start, it all comes down to this critical ratio, 3-to-1. For every 3 compressions we do, we pause and deliver 1 breath. This whole system is designed to get blood moving around the body without sacrificing that all-important oxygenation from the lungs. And just like with breathing, there's a rhythm to this. It's fast, it's coordinated, and it requires incredible teamwork. You can hear it. 1 and 2 and 3 and breathe. 1 and 2 and 3 and breathe. Over and over, aiming for 120 of these events every minute. All right, we are now at the top of the algorithm. We've established an airway, we're giving effective ventilation, we're doing high-quality chest compressions, but we're still not getting the response we need. It's time to talk about medications. So what's the go-to drug? Epinephrine. And what does it actually do? Well, think of it as a supercharger for the heart. It clamps down on blood vessels in the periphery, which shunts more blood back to the heart muscle itself, giving it the boost it needs to start beating effectively again. The trigger is clear. Heart rate is still under 60 after a full minute of great compressions and ventilation. Now, when we give epi, every single detail matters. There is zero room for error here. The best route is IV or IO to get it to the heart fast. And this is critical. You only use the 0.1 milligram per milliliter solution. The dose is tiny, 0.02 milligrams per kilo, and you have to follow it with a saline flush to push it into the circulation. You can repeat that dose every 3 to 5 minutes if you have to. The other medication you might hear about is a volume expander. But let me be super clear. This is not something we just give to every baby. This is reserved for very specific situations where you have good reason to believe the baby has lost a lot of blood and is in shock. They're pale, pulses are weak, and so on. All right, let's start to bring it all home. We're going to look at the targets we're aiming for and recap the whole sequence so you can see how it all fits together. While all this is happening, we're glued to the pulse oximeter. And what this table shows is so important. We aren't trying to get the baby to 100% oxygen right away. That's not how it works. A healthy baby's oxygen level comes up gradually. Look here. At 2 minutes of life, the target is only 65 to 70%. Our job is to give just enough oxygen to help them meet these targets, not blast them with 100%. And this right here, this is the entire philosophy of NRP boiled down into 4 logical steps. It's our chain of care. It follows that classic ABCD logic. You start with basic airway steps. If that's not enough, you support breathing. If the heart's still not responding, you support circulation. And only then, as a last resort, do you move on to drugs. And that really brings us to the most important point of all. In a crisis, you don't magically rise to the occasion, you fall back on the level of your training. Neonatal resuscitation is all about preparation, practice, and a team that can execute these fundamental steps without even thinking. So the real question isn't just, do you know this stuff? It's, can your team perform it flawlessly when a life depends on it?